everyone. Today we are going to learn about relations and functions in mathematics. In this video, I'll explain the following topics: Introduction to relations and functions, ordered pairs, Cartesian product, what is relations, what is functions, graphing a function, and the vertical line test. So let's get started. To begin with, have you ever matched something with something else? Like matching a person to their favorite food or a student to their roll number? That's what we do in mathematics when we talk about relations and functions. A relation is just a way of connecting things from one group to things in another group. For example, think about a group of students and a group of favorite colors. If we match each student to their favorite color, that's a relation. Whereas a function is nothing but a type of relation where each input has only one output. For example, in schools and colleges, each student has only one roll number. It's a function. But if one student has two roll numbers, then it is not considered as a function. So to keep it simple, a relation is a kind of matching between two sets, whereas a function is a relation that gives only one answer for each input. Remember, all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. We'll see this in detail in the upcoming slides. Before that, let's take a look at what an ordered pair is. An ordered pair is just a pair of numbers written in a specific order, like this: A, B. The first number is the x coordinate and the second is the y coordinate. That's why we say order matters. For example, look at this graph. If we plot 2 points 2, 4 and 4, 2, here 2, 4 and 4, 2 are not the same. They represent two different points on a graph. So it ends up in totally two different spots. So remember, A, B is not the same as B, A unless both numbers are equal, like 3, 3 or 2, 2. This is very important when we start graphing relations and functions. Next, let's look at something called the Cartesian product. It is a way to combine two sets and form all possible ordered pairs using one element from each set. We write it as A cross B, which means take one element from set A and pair it with one element from set B. Here is an example. Let's say set A equals 1, 2 and set B equals x, y. Now we create all combinations like this: 1, x, 1, y, 2, x and 2, y. So A cross B will contain all the ordered pairs we combine, which are 1, x, 1, y, 2, x and 2, y. You can see in the diagram that every element in A connects with every element in B, like drawing arrows between them. This is the Cartesian product of two sets A and B. As we saw previously, we got an overview of relations and functions. Now, let's look more closely at what a relation is with a proper example. A relation is simply a set of ordered pairs that connects elements from one set to another. For instance, we can relate names and ages. Each name gets matched with an age. These pairs, like Alex 9 or Jude 12, show that relation between a person and their age. So this table here shows how each person is related to their age, and all of those pairings together make up a relation. Let's understand relations with another simple and interesting example. Imagine we have two sets. Set A with students John, Maria and Ali. Set B with subjects Math, Science and English. A relation connects elements from these two sets, showing who likes which subject. Here the relation is a set of ordered pairs: John, Math, Maria, science, Ali, math, and John, English. These pairs tell us John likes math and English, Maria likes science, and Ali likes math. So this relation helps us clearly show connections from students to the subjects they like. We got a clear idea of what a relation is. Now let's look into what a function is. As I already said, a function is a special kind of relation. In a function, each input has only one output. For example, imagine you are receiving a phone call. If you press the green icon, the call gets answered. And if you press the red icon, the call gets cut, right? Here, each icon gives exactly one result. This is how a function works. One input gives one output. Now, let's understand function with the same example we have seen for relation. Earlier, we saw how students were connected to different subjects. That was a relation. Now see how it becomes a function. Here, each student picks only one favorite subject. That means for every student there is exactly one favorite subject they are connected to. That is, John's favorite is mathematics, Maria's is science, and Ali's favorite is English. So this is a function since each student is linked to just one subject. Suppose if any student is connected to more than one subject, then it will not be considered as a function, but it's still a relation. I think you all are now clear about what relations and functions are. Now let's move on and see how to graph a function. This will help you to visualize the concept better. To do this, we choose some values for x and put them into the equation we consider y equals 2x. Let's try. If we give x equals minus 1, then 2 times of minus 1 will give the y value, that is minus 2. Similarly, if we put x is equal 0 in y equation, we get y also 0. And for x is equal to 1, we get y value as 2. And if x is equal to 2, we get 2 times of 2, which is 4 as y value. Notice that here each x value gives only one y value. That's why this is a function. Now let's plot the points on the graph. Minus 1, minus 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, and 2, 4. Once we plot them, we can draw a straight line through these points. Now, you know how to take an equation, make a table values and draw it as a graph step by step. Alright, now it's your turn. Here is a small challenge for you. Look at this table. Each column shows an input-output pair. Take a moment and think carefully. Do you think this relation is a function or not? Remember, a relation is a function only if each x value is matched with just one y value. I'll give you a few seconds to observe. Now, let's check your answers. This is not a function. And here is why, because look closely. The input value is 9 and is repeated twice, but each time it is paired with two different y values. One time with minus 4 and another time with 11. That breaks the rule of a function. So this is just a relation, not a function.
We have learned how to graph a function, but how can we tell just by looking at a graph whether a relation is a function or not? There is a quick and easy way to check. It is called the vertical line test. Consider this graph. This shows the graph with a straight blue line, that is a linear graph. To check if a graph represents a function, imagine drawing a vertical line at any position on the graph. So, here the red vertical line we have drawn touches the graph only once at every point. Then it is a function. In this graph, no matter where you draw a vertical line, it will touch the line only once. So this is a function. Let's see another example. This graph shows a circle. If we draw a vertical line somewhere in the graph, suppose here, it touches the graph in two places. That means on x value has two y values, which is not allowed in a function. So this relation is not a function because it fails the vertical line test.
Now take a closer look at this graph and find whether this graph represents a function or not using the vertical line test. Give it a try. We'll discuss the answer together in just a few seconds. Great thinking, everyone. Let's check the answer. Yes, it is a function. Look, I have drawn a red vertical line that passes through the graph. In this case, every vertical line we draw will touch the graph at only one point. That means each input x has just one output. So the answer is yes, the graph is a function. Alright class, let's wrap up everything we have learned today with a quick summary. We started with a Cartesian product which gives us all possible ordered pairs from two sets. That's the base of how we represent relations. Then we explored relations, how two things can be connected like a student and their grade. And we focused on functions where every input has exactly one output. We also learned a really cool trick to check whether a graph is a function or not using the vertical line test. If no vertical line touches the graph more than once, it is a function. I hope it helped you to understand the topic better. Before we conclude, take a minute to answer these 10 MCQs and see how well you have understood the topic. Keep exploring, keep practicing, and enjoy learning.